And we're live. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to episode 275 of This Week in Real Estate, broadcast live Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Sky-high home prices. When will this end? This episode was brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. And because of you, we are now a member YouTube partner program. So thanks everyone for supporting the show. Because of your support, we're hey, already see people joining on Instagram. We're live on Instagram too now. But thanks for your support. If you want to comment, you could go to the YouTube section and comment. I could display your comment just like Olivier said, numero uno. He was first today, beating out Matt LaMarche, of course. You can also comment on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I could display those comments for you, as well as, so you could comment on Instagram. I can't display it, but I will say your username and what you're saying if I catch it. And you can also join us on Clubhouse. We have a room going there, a house, Clubhouse, a room, whatever. But you can raise your hand and come on up. If you have a profile filled out, you can actually join the show and add your voice to the podcast. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of this. Especially everything that's going on. I feel like a ton has happened since last week. Last week, of course, I missed the show. Some of you know I was in Banff, Canada. Let's see, it's Banff, Alberta, Canada. It's not just Banff, Canada. It's like saying Little Rock, United States. So I was in Banff, Alberta, Canada. It was awesome. I got through customs, no problem. And I think it was the plaid that helped. I think they saw my plaid and was like, this guy's one of us. Let him in. And so it was a wonderful time, beautiful place. Went there a day early, stayed one day late. I definitely recommend it, especially if you love nature. And I've got some beautiful footage on this 360 camera, this 1-inch Insta360 that we tested out, and it took some really cool pictures too. So I posted a couple of those pictures on my stories, but I'll have a post coming later that shows kind of what we got to see and all that stuff. But I was up there for the Real Brokerage Canadian conference. It was the first ever Canadian conference by Real. And I wanted to support the family up there. And it was a lot of fun because there were so many people that I'd never met before. So it was a treat to meet them there. And there were probably like, 20, maybe 30 Americans up there that I knew. And everyone else was a brand new face. So it was pretty cool. So shout out to those of you that I met there that are watching this week. I appreciate you tuning in. But let's jump right into it. There's not like for probably a year and a half-ish, we've been starting the top of the show with the industry tea. And that industry tea has included like, here's what's happening in the lawsuit this week. Here's what's happening in the lawsuit this week. Well, it's kind of been settled now. There's not as much happening in the lawsuit realm. So now I guess some of the stuff we'll be talking about is the implementation of that, which we have in the second story. And we'll also be talking about the regular tea that we used to talk about, which is what's happening in the industry and what are some changes that are going on. So first off the bat, we have Rocket Homes Tech Chief unpacks Explore Spaces visual search tool. That's like a mouthful of a headline. It would have been shorter if they said Rocket Homes uses AI search tool. That's what they're doing. So they're using a visual AI search tool. And this is pretty cool. I'll show you what it looks like live, but I also want to show you their demo video too. To shorten it, basically they're using AI to look at the photos and to know what's in the photo. Then they're allowing home searchers to filter search results by what AI understands from the photo. Okay, so here's an example. Let's say I'm interested in kitchens and I'm looking in, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm really focused on, my wife wants a white kitchen, bringing that into the experience for the customers so they don't have to go through every listing. So that's a really great tool because not only can you just search by the name of the room, but you can also search by what's in the room. I like that part. I feel like it could easily be taken by Zillow if they just did the name of the room, because all someone would have to develop is a basic AI that would say this is a kitchen and this is a living room and this is a pool. But because of specifics, I wonder how accurate that AI is going to be to show you a white kitchen, or does it show you a kitchen with a whole bunch of white in it? let's see. It says the more you use it, the better job it's doing because it's learning. They asked if they developed it in-house, and it was kind of, they said they're looking for potential partners out in the universe. So it was kind of not super clear where they got the AI. They are focused on the AI, but I think this could, so let's take a look at it. Here. This is what it looks like. Well, first, let me show you their demo video. We have a demo video, and it is, hopefully YouTube does not take me down for showing you this. I'll talk over it. Show this tab instead. All right, so here's their demo video. Personalized location search. That's not too terribly new unless it just kind of knows who you are and where you're looking. But Zillow saves your last search. But what they're showing there is a hand-drawn polygraph, just your own shape. You're drawing your own shape in the search results that you want, and then it just keeps that for you. And it says listing image, and it wants to look at the kitchen. So now you're seeing all the kitchen. Now this is very easily replicable so far, but where they differentiate is the specifics. If you could do white kitchen or large living room, or how would the AI define large? That's some of the questions that I have on there. Here's the Explore Spaces tab where you could just look through all the photos. And right now it's looking at pool photos. It just wants to see all the pools, and then it can go through the virtual tour. And I think some markets are going to be more concerned with like the front of the home, but this is helpful if you're looking for a very specific feature. Now, whenever you upload photos to our MLS, it says things like, what room is this? And you're supposed to type in kitchen, but no one does. And that's a massive problem with a lot of the MLS data, is that it's not, the data entry is only as good as the person that's entering that data. Well, this solves all of that, because instead of worrying about the data entry, you have AI that is looking at the photos and understanding. And then, as it says here, generating photo captions. So it says living room featuring a towering ceiling. Oh, can you hear it? I know you meant it be better. Dark hardwood style flooring, brick wood, decorative accents. This one says a living room with stone fireplace, dark hardwood style flooring. I guess wood style flooring because it doesn't really know if it's a laminate or what style of flooring is that. So Mint Mab says that's cool. And that's also terrifying. Yeah, it's terrifying that you could see into someone else's house and know everything about them. Like, where does that stop? That's kind of fun to think about. Where does that stop? Okay, so let me get to this other link on the rundown here. All right, so let's look at what it actually looks like. So this is, I just shared my rundown for you guys to see. So this is what the live search looks like with the Explore Spaces feature. So you can click on the Explore Spaces button. Here are the kitchens. So I can see all the kitchens in my area. Here are the bedrooms. And then when you see a cool bedroom you like, or you see something like, oh yeah, I like this bedroom here, then you click on that one and you can see the full house photos. Starting with it's only showing me the bedroom. I guess I have to click all. That's kind of weird. I would say if you're interested enough in a part of the home to click on it and see more, it should just show you all the photos of that home. That's one thing. I think it should default to that. Maybe not. I would say just show the bedrooms first or something like that. Christina Smallhorn says, oh, look, super chat. Thank you, Christina. Thanks for joining the show. Rick Beal said, that's really cool. I wish our MLS would have technology. Yeah, MLS is so reliant on people to enter the data, and not enough people enter the data. We can't even search by garage spaces here because not enough agents put in, like, here's how many garage spaces there are. Jennifer Mayberry Realty says, hi from Portland. Hi. She's on Instagram. Morgan Godfrey says Polygon. That's what I was trying to think of. I was trying to think of Polygon. It was right on the tip of my tongue. All right, so let's look at some more stuff. How do I It says any price, any baths. All right, that's fine. Let's do white kitchen as well. No. All right, so white kitchens. So that's, well, how do they showed that as an example, but it's not letting me filter by that example. So that's interesting. Just want to draw this area. And it just shows me kitchens. It's not allowing me to put in the specifics as it advertised. So maybe there's more to come. It does say that it's going to get better as it continues to grow. It is showing me white kitchens, but it's not taking that as a All right, so this is Rocket Homes. You can get here by going to rockethomes.com. At the top, it'll ask you to submit your information, but you can say no. Just put in your zip code and then search for homes that way. So if you guys figure out how to do the specifics and getting AI to find the specifics, that would be awesome. But right now, it looks like it's not specifics. Although it did advertise that. I would rather it be the more specific, the better. But then you also get into issues where AI does not clearly define the space. Like if you say white kitchen and it's barely off-white, or if the lighting makes it look a little bit gray. Sometimes, a kitchen lighting does make a wall look gray when it's a white wall. I could see that being a problem for AI to interpret that. All right, well, that's it. What do you guys think? Useful? Not useful? Are people going to go to Rocket Homes to start searching for properties? Or I feel like this is going to quickly be Sherlocked by other people. Sherlocked, that's a term for you iPhone fans. There used to be an app called Sherlock, and then Apple integrated a feature of Sherlock into its phone. And so now they have a term called Sherlock, where somebody just takes over that feature and implements it into what they're already doing. That would be tough for an MLS to replicate, but I feel like it's not going to be tough for a big portal like homes.com or Zillow or something like that to take it and implement it. Yeah, Christina Smallhorn says, nah, it's going to be adopted by bigger companies. That's what I said too. Jennifer on Instagram says, can you search primary on Maine? Let's try primary on Maine. Let me share my screen again. How specific?
This feels like the early days of the internet. Like, what does www dot stand for? And it will go down as that in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, it'll be just something that in the future, you got the Neuralink. So you just think about what you want, and then you go on there and it'll show it, right?
I can't imagine giving away my opportunity to write remarks for my listings. And I'm serious. Gosh. I love it. Once you get into it, and I do, and it's sort of like a warm up for showing the house.
Interesting.
It's therapy for me.
Recently, I've been taking the video scripts that we have for homes and then sending that to AI and asking it to shorten it to the character count for our listing description. And it does a pretty good job of just because I've already written it. I've already had the creative, and it just does a better job of making it, I guess, more concise. Olivier says, it's interesting. I'm sure this feature will get better over time. Yeah, it's supposed to keep learning as people use it. All right, so we want primary on Maine. I don't know how to search the primary on Maine. This is going to be a problem for them. This is a huge user interface issue where it's only allowing me to put an address, neighborhood, city, or zip code in this search box, but it's advertising explore spaces down here and giving me a very restricted search. So this is not like an open search for explore spaces. Every time I click on there, it automatically goes to kitchens. And then if I want bedrooms, which I can't define primary, I can only look at bedrooms. So it's not only showing me, it's not just showing me bedrooms, it's showing me Oh, it's not showing me like a primary bedroom. It's showing me every bedroom. And that's kind of bad. I mean, I would rather it start to be defined, so this is the first mover. The second mover has the advantage, right? The second mover knows whatever I type in the address bar, it should start searching by that. And it should probably use my previous history to know where I'm looking, which Zillow already has that information. So all it would need to do is add the AI to read what photos are and then allow users just to use it instead of an address bar, show me all white kitchens in Arkansas, show me all white kitchens in this part of California, or show me all, primaries on the main. I don't know how the AI would understand that the primary bedroom is on the main level unless there's real estate agent inputting that information. However, CoStar might be able to do this with Matterport. You remember CoStar bought Matterport. And one of the questions was, how are they going to use the 3D technology? How is CoStar going to use that? And this would be a very effective tool to let AI read the 360 tour and then to know where the primary is. And it will have spatial awareness that just a photo does not provide. That would be rad. CoStar, if you're watching this, Andy, let me know. I'm curious. Is that how you're going to use it? All right. So Rocket Homes has the new toy. They're going to be relevant for a couple of weeks until somebody else takes them over. But that's not the only arms race that's happening. There's another one all about the commission structure. So all the portals are trying to figure out, how do they communicate this? Instead of just taking it off their website, they're looking at this like an opportunity. Which I guess that's a good thing. So there's a lot of locking horns, public jabs. We've seen that happen. Agents should expect big transformational announcements from these portals and announcements that foretell where the industry is heading. That's odd to me in Arkansas because we've just had buyer representation for years. So Olivier says if data is deficient, it will always be an issue. That's true. Talking about the search with AI. Zillow has the residential portal crown. Upcoming changes to NAR have led to questions about the potential end of Zillow's reign, as their model primarily caters to buyer agents who could struggle to shoulder Premier Agent's 40% referral fee. However, Zillow sweetened the pot by adding a Premier Agent real-time touring, which enabled buyers agents to quickly connect to high-intent home buyers. When a buyer chooses a tour time on Zillow, they're directly routed to a buyer agent. I mean, that's no different than what you could do on my website too. And I find that some of those leads are not really high intent. They just want to see a house. I mean, we've all been there where someone's like, I'm just looking. I just want to go see this house. Anyway, those connections are routed directly. They've also started the Showing Time Pluses listing showcase. So if you guys have not been called about that one, I'm sure you will. But that allows people to basically boost your listing on Zillow, similar to what homes.com is doing. And then you claim your listing, your lead type of deal, where somebody inquires about it, then you get it. My understanding of how this works is that you pay a subscription fee and you get one listing to boost per month, no matter the price. Then any additional listing you want to boost, it is price dependent, listing price dependent on how much it costs you to boost that listing. So $1 million home would cost you more to boost than a $500,000 home. Listing Showcase is sold to agents on a subscription basis. Each geographic zone has a limited number available. Okay, so we also have homes.com. They've always done the Your Listing, Your Lead promise. They are really leveraging the listing side of the business, similar to what they've done on CoStar for years. The first generation real estate portals leverage this threatened buyer broker commission rule to divert listing leads from agents to a small handful of agents who then require the split. Many agents and brokers strongly resent that model. That's why they're for your listing, your lead. He said, when we speak to investors in the real estate community, some folks say, what's the big deal with Matterport acquisition, which we were just talking about? 10 or 15 years ago, 20 years ago, only a small percentage of homes and apartments had photos. Now it's the standard. Basically, they believe that the digital twin of having a digital twin of your listing will be the standard moving forward in the future. They don't talk about how AI can have some spatial awareness in the digital twin, but I feel like that's something that's coming. Then Realtor.com. As for new tools or updates to Realtor.com's 8 lead generation and marketing products, Thompson limited his comments to improvements for the, quote, the product and the user experience that will help the portal take advantage of the market trends from headwind to tailwind. One of the issues that they're tucked into a big conglomerate, News Corp, has multiple businesses. They have less airtime with investors to articulate what they're doing, which needs to change. Then Redfin. Would you look at them as a portal, online portal? I look at them as a brokerage. I don't think I look at them as an online portal, but maybe. They're great at data. I love their data and reports. So available since May 3rd, Ask Redfin answers questions about listing and a host of home buying topics. Question requires more nuanced answer than Ask Redfin can provide. It immediately connects the buyers with a licensed real estate agent. An option that 10% of users took on average. It doesn't really say anything. From a compensation standpoint, the big benefit for Redfin is it gives you all the technology that comes with being an employee. You get benefits, all the technology that's important to you. So it's more like if you join them as a realtor. So that's it. So this article about the arms race.
I don't know that.
Oh, so you're talking to me. This article about the portal arms race, I think the big two to keep an eye on is really homes.com and Zillow. I don't think there's really anything coming down the pipe from anyone else that's impressive or even relevant. Christina Smallhorn said, I think is overblown. It's a great tool, but it won't disrupt people have tried to scare us about. It won't be as, I'm sorry, I butchered your comment. I'm going to reread it. I think AI is overblown. It's a great tool, but it won't be as disruptor people have tried to scare us about. It won't be the disruptor yet. I see what you're saying. I think it could be an enhancement. I don't think it'll be a disruptor either. It's not going to replace real estate agents, that's for sure. However, will more people use it as a tool to ask questions that they may ask a real estate agent? Absolutely. Would it be beneficial for a real estate company to provide for people to ask their tech that question, like the Ask Redfin? Yeah, I think that's smart. But I don't think it's going to be, I love AI. I use AI every single day in so many different ways, but it's not a replacement, right? So AI, has it replaced a nutritionist looking at a dietary program and telling me recipes? Yeah. Because yeah, it has replaced that. Has it replaced a coach, like a CrossFit coach that can watch my movements and tell me what I'm doing wrong? Not yet. Could it? Yeah. But I also don't have the real feedback and coaching cues that are perfect for me. So could it replace a real estate agent coach who is helping you build your business? There's some things that it could do better than a real estate coach. So yeah, I think there's going to be some changes in that industry. But is it a full replacement for the application of tactical strategies for your specific business? No. If a coach is great at that, it can be AI every single time. But can it tell me how to do, geographic farming? Yeah. I don't need a coach to tell me that. Well, you could go to YouTube and somebody on YouTube is already teaching you that. So the repository of knowledge just at fingertips is all new. And I love that, but it's not going to be a replacement for true professionals in the field. One example is Real Broker has built-in AI to our backend. And I was talking about this with one of our agents. I think it's handling like 1,000 a month or something crazy like that, where people, instead of sending a question to support, which we have a really wonderful support, it's like an email. You just send support an email and it's awesome. Instead of sending an email to support and taking up their time to get the answer, a lot of people are asking Leo, is what we call it. And it's the AI on the back end, and they're just asking the question and getting the answer. And if they get a wrong answer, or it's funky, you can thumb up it or thumb down, and the tech team looks at that, makes adjustments, and the algorithms makes adjustments in the AI to make those answers better. But it's taking a load off support, so then it makes our support function better and more efficient, which is also cheaper, which saves us money and makes the company more profitable. So, that's a huge enhancement. It didn't replace anyone. Now, are we able to hire less people? Yeah, but that also means that there's more money now in the pockets of the people that own the company and real estate agents, which a lot of us own broker. So it's increasing profitability for all of us. And I think that's kind of where we're headed. I think that's the future. Rick Beal says the DOJ wants to eliminate real estate agents. It does feel that way. It's felt that way for a couple of years. Christina Smallhorn says, "You is a great tool. It's my favorite." Yes. I also like, Christina, you probably don't like that I'm saying this because it does take away some views from some creators. But if there's a really long video and I want to know about it, I will actually use AI to summarize the video and pull the important parts of it, so I get the information and the data if I don't have time to watch the whole video, even at 2x speed at that time. Now, I always try to go back and watch it in case it misses something, because I don't fully trust AI to do a great job. But there've been some really good branding videos that I wanted to watch. I just didn't have the time to, so I had AI do a summary and tell me the bullet points of what they talked about, so I could start to implement some stuff. And I loved that use case. Okay, she said everyone does that, right? I get it. Okay, good. I would never do that to your show, though, Christina. So, if anyone wants the bullet points of my show, I actually give it away. So we have a contributor group, and I post the run before the show and say, "Hey guys, this is what we're talking about today." And sometimes I'll even post links to the articles in there, so you don't have to get a YouTube summary. And also, if you're watching this as a replay, you can look down in the description, and there will be all the articles that we cover with a timestamp by the article that you're interested in. So you can just click there and zoom right to that article. So it's super easy just to launch right over and see that home sales slipped unexpectedly in April despite big gains in supply. That was such a smooth transition. This article is from CNBC. Sales of previously owned homes fell 1.9% in April from March to 0.14 million units on a seasonally adjusted annualized basis, according to the National Association of Realtors. Sales were also down from April 2023, off 1.9% from last year. These sales are based on closings, so contracts signed in February and March. Mortgage rates jumped at the start of February and then held around 2 months. Lawrence Yun, he's the chief economist for Realtors. That's us. He said, when we see the mortgage rates, which is about 300 basis point increase from pre-COVID pace, we're in a new territory as to how the lock-in effect will restrain home sales. So they are still talking about the lock. It seems like anytime we're in the sevens, it's going to be a lock-in effect. Total housing inventory at the end of April was just 1.21 million units. That's up 9% month to month. So it is going up, and up 16% from the year before. But it's still just a 3.5 month supply in the current sales pace, which leans towards sellers. Supply is considered balance between a buyer and seller. The supply of homes priced at more than 1 million, however, was up 34% year over year. And that usually happens. Luxury seems to go slower, faster. That would be very, very luxury in our market. Home prices reaching record high month of April is very good news for homeowners. However, the pace of price increases should taper off. Well, one of the things I've noticed, home prices are increasing. I was just talking about this with a builder. Home prices are increasing, but at the same time, home prices are increasing. So are the days on market. So inventory is increasing. Home prices are still increasing, but days on market are also increasing. And we are also seeing a dip in the aspirational sales prices. Let me look at this number again. I wonder what percentage of homes have had price decreases. So this is not a valuation decrease. This is a price decrease from the time they were to what properties with price decreases. It is up right now to 41.68%. So almost half of the homes on the market are currently dropping in price, which sounds crazy. May 2022, only 18% of homes had a drop in home prices that were listed. Now that sounds nuts, but if you look back all the way back to November of 2019, the average was 43.64%. So we are almost at the pre-COVID timing for the first time in a long time, as far as the number of properties currently on the market with a decrease. When I look at the market segments, they're all kind of the same there too. They're all about that 40% range. So less aspirational home sales are going through. We know that. Inventory is increasing slowly but surely. We know that. And home prices continue to go up. So what's that mean whenever you have a strained inventory? Well, it usually means that new home sales are going up. 1/3 of houses for sale are newly built, which is just shy of a record high. So 1/3, 33.4% of single family in the U.S. were new. So here's a cool chart from Q1 that shows 33.4%. That is just off of the high. I think it was 34% in 2022, and that was the extremely limited inventory. But you can see how this over the last since COVID. The amount of supply has not recovered, and so therefore there are so many more new builds that are being bought. Christina and Olivia, I'm going to get to your comment in just a bit. That's good. Home building is shot up. The supply of existing homes. So it just makes sense. If you have an increase in new builds and you have a decrease in resale homes, you're going to have a higher percentage of homes that sell that are new built. We have a fair amount of new construction homes for sale. Thank goodness we do, said Nicole Degg, Redfin Premier Agent in Orlando. Buyers are having a hard time finding single-family homes in their budget because not many homeowners are letting go of their houses, and those who are listing tend to price it high because they haven't come to terms with the fact that prices have come down since their 2022 peak, she said. Builders have a better understanding of the current market, so they're pricing fairly, offering mortgage rate buydowns, and providing other concessions to attract buyers. That's also what we're seeing almost exactly in our market. So chime in the comments. What's the what's the market like where you are? Are you seeing the same trend? Or are you seeing a completely different trend? So if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, pop it in the comments and also tell us where you're from so that other people can see it. Okay, so home prices, we are talking about them too. They set an all-time high, pushing pending sales down 4%. High housing costs push pending home sales down 4.2% year over year. It's the biggest decline in 3 months, except for the prior 4-week period where they declined 4.4%. Prices keep rising despite declining sales because there aren't enough homes on the market. Even though supply is up 9% and then 16% year over year, there's still not enough homes on the market to make a dent in home price increases. Julie, what's up, Julie? Julie Mazzina says same trend here in Iowa. Iowa. Why did I say it like that? Iowa. She said, I am seeing many price reductions. All right. Sellers offering concessions, Julie, especially rate buydowns and things like that instead of price reductions. Are they trying that first? And if it doesn't sell, then they are reducing their price and taking away the concession? Or are you seeing them just go straight for the price concession? Olivier said, I have trouble. Oh, wait. We'll get to this video discussion. There's a great discussion with the video expert, Christina Smallhorn, in the comments. So you guys are missing if you're not watching live. She said Julie said builders are for sure offering the concessions. Okay. So that's what the article said too. So move up buyers feel stuck because they're not ready for their next house, but it just makes financial sense to sell with the current interest rate so high. It doesn't make financial sense to sell with the current interest rate so high. Homeowners are listing right now, and often they do so because they need to. One of my clients is selling a family of a family emergency, and another couple is selling because they had a baby, simply don't have enough room. Buyers should take note that many of today's sellers are motivated, and if a home doesn't have offers on the table, offer under asking price or ask for concessions because many sellers are willing to negotiate. I totally agree. This is Sam Britton, a Redfin Premier agent in Salt Lake City. I totally agree with Sam's take on that. Olivier said, yeah, the market here in Quebec is soft if pricing is not perfect. Inventory is going up. People are starting to feel pain from higher interest rates. Julie said, we're still having a hard time with pricing down. Brian J. Klinger, thanks for joining us on Instagram. He said, Grand Rapids, Michigan is dealing with low inventory. What adjustments are you seeing sellers make, Brian? Are they still able to command a super high price and get multiple offers? Or is that starting to slow down a little bit in your... All right, here's another article about high home prices too. We actually have a few of these today. Home prices continue their ascent, even as high costs deter home buyers. This is the Redfin Home Price Index. Remember that they've been comparing it to the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. So they do this instead. So the Redfin Home Price Index shows home prices are still up. According to the Redfin Home Price Index, which uses repeat sales price method, let's see, home prices have been rising about 0.5 percentage point per month for the last 6 months. 0.5 percentage point per month for the last 6 months. Price growth has stabilized as at this rate, following dramatic ups and downs during the home buying boom. I would say that it seems like it's more stable, but it seems like seasonality is off. Does anyone else feel that? It just seems like it's not as, like it was very predictable a couple of years ago. Prior to COVID, I would know when to take off because I knew when the market would die for 2 weeks. And I could tell my sellers, like, hey, these next 2 weeks, it's going to be tough because this is what's happening in our market. This is what's happening in people's family. And, so we generally, nothing happens over here in these couple of weeks and these couple of weeks. I remember when that March hit with the pandy and just kind of paused everything. We've returned to a regularly scheduled season since then. And it feels like everything is delayed. Instead of the home buying season really kicking off like it used to in March and just being boom, incredible, it seems like everything's delayed like 2 months. Like now I'm thinking, okay, now's the time. I feel like more people are active now. More listings are active now. We're getting more phone calls now. And it's the heat of the summer where we used to get tons and tons of calls, but now it's more like it used to be in March. Which is, I'm curious if any of you are feeling that. Brian J. Klinger said multiple offers under 400,000 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's nice. We in our market, it's very price sensitive. So if you have a home that's 250, but it should be priced at 240, 230, 245, it's not going to move. You're not going to get anything. So it's easy to tell, even with all the exposure and everything we provide, it's just not going to go anywhere. And for whatever reason, the buyers these days, they don't even want to see a home that's priced higher. They're not making lower offers yet. So I think that'll happen, but it's not there. Julie said, I remember someone saying last year at this time is the best market we'll be in our lifetime and our children's. Mr. 10X is predicting doubling. I cannot say I disagree. May has been my best month so far this year. Really interesting. And she says 100% price sensitive. Yeah, very price sensitive. And even if it's the right price but not condition, they're super sensitive to that too because they don't want to bring extra money to the table. So we've had discussions like, well, we could afford this house, but we can't afford to fix this and that thing that we know is going to be a problem. Doubling rents. Okay. Julie, we're going to get into that in a minute. We actually have an article about rents going down in some parts of the country. So we have had a huge decrease in the amount of investors that we're working with. Oh, she said from Mr. 10X. That's Cardone, right? Uncle Grant, as some call him. I think that's Christina Smallhorn's one of his favorite person. Inflation is hitting hard, says Olivier. The cost of living has gone up. So if the cost of living is going up and taking money out of people's pockets that they could be putting towards a home, then you're going to see fewer people buying a home. It just makes sense. Okay, the next article, this is another one. The all-time high for home prices was hit in April. Here's the chart. $434,000 is the new all-time high median sell price. So look at this. In 2012-ish, it was close to 160,000. Whoa, that is wild. Close to 160,000 in 2012. Now, what's this? 12 years later, 434,000. That's a pretty good investment. Patrick Ellis Home Inspection says the cost of everything has gone up. It's true. Patrick's busy. He's busy this time of year. Christina said, so what are your thoughts on looking at the cars market to see the trend of people being able to afford their lives and reflection of what could happen to homes? So this that's a great question. A couple of years ago, I don't know if it was because I saw a news report or what, but I'm pretty sure I was just driving around and noticing the lack of new cars. This was in 2006, 2007. We were seeing the lack of new cars, and that preceded, and it was a visual observation, anecdote. I don't know if there were actually fewer sales back then. I think it was 2007. And that was before the crash in 2008. That was when people thought maybe there was something up. And there just seemed to be more used cars on the road than brand new models. And then we had the crash. I like, whenever I'm looking around, if I'm seeing a whole bunch of new cars, then I feel like people think times are great. And they're spending their money on something that's expendable, and they're not having to buy something used. They're getting a new car because they can afford it, despite it losing half of its value as soon as it drives off the market. So I haven't paid much attention to that lately, but that's a great question. And now I'm going to start looking around to see. I know when consumer spending continues to stay high, even though people are like, oh, this is a terrible market with the price on everything staying up. Well, if there's no decrease in orders, in other words, inflation is staying high because more people are ordering more stuff, then even though people feel like it's bad, they're still buying stuff. Then the economy is still rocking. And that's going to be a problem for lowering of rates. Because anytime there's more orders than there is stuff, then you see an increase in prices, which that is inflation, and the Fed will not lower rates. So the economy kind of needs to get bad before rates are going to go down. And if rates don't go down, people are just going to have to be spending more for their home. I don't know, people hate hearing this, and I hate saying it, but it's still 7% still below average of the last 40 years of interest rate. We just got really spoiled for low rates for about 10 years. So I think it's going to have to, new norm, says Julie. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to have to be the new norm. What's up, Mark? Mark Coastal, your realtor, says, that's not Coastal. Marcus Salas, your realtor, says spending is also up. A lender told me that when the Fed last met, people can't stop spending money, and that's why interest rates haven't dropped. Yes, that's exactly it. I love you, Mark. Jennifer Mabry, realtor in Portland, said, We're usually winding down our buying season right now in May. Huh. Alicia, the Realtor One, said California's prices are insane. Mark agrees. It's very correct. Or stop living outside your means. Well, people aren't going to do that. No wonder people are moving out of the country. I don't know that people are going to move out of the country, but I think people are going to move around. I think they're going to move around to some lower cost living areas. And sorry, I always butcher Instagram names because it's over there on the corner and I'm already reading your comment. I see you and I'm already reading your comment and my brain has to remember your Instagram handle. So I apologize. Christina says, YOLO. They can't take it with them. So spend it. Yeah. You only live once. But there's got to be, we keep saying there's got to be a shift, but really, people are putting all kinds of stuff on credit cards at 29%. So when will it shift? I don't know. Christina said we're moving to Portugal once my kids graduate college. I know a guy there. I want a home on the beach and a home in the mountains when my kids are graduated. We may have to do that before though, because I feel like I'm going to be 86 before my last kid graduates. Jennifer Mabry said 30% of my biz is folks moving from California to Oregon. That is we have a huge import of people right now. And I used to export people all the time pre-COVID. Portugal is a country. So many people are moving there, says Alicia, the Realtor One. Well, thank you guys for joining the show over there on Instagram. I appreciate the comments. I'm going to try to get to them. All right. So let's look at, weekly mortgage. What's happening in the mortgage rates? I'm sorry. I need to reshare my screen. There we are, love. Weekly mortgage demand drops to a 3-month low as rates begin climbing again. After a brief pullback during May, mortgage rates began rising last week. That had an immediate impact on what had been several weeks of strengthening mortgage demand. This was the first increase in 4 weeks. While it might not seem like a huge move, that is on average, the rates have fallen back to the high 6% range before shooting higher in the second half of the week. As a result, total mortgage application volume fell 5.7%. Both the purchase and refi fell, said Joel Kahn, Mortgage Bankers Association economist. Borrowers remain sensitive to small increases in rates impacting the refinance market and keeping purchase applications below last year's levels. Applications to purchase fell 1% for the week and were 10% lower than the same week a year ago. Where's the refi? It didn't tell me the individual refi numbers, I don't think. Just total mortgage application volume and then the applications to purchase. There continues to be limited levels of existing home for sale, and many buyers are struggling to find listings in their price range that meet their needs. That's Joel Kahn. Kahn! In honor of Dan the Man. That's for you OGs out there. All right, so we know this. So who is buying? I thought this was an interesting article from Redfin. Gen Zers and young millennials took out 40% of U.S. mortgages in 2023. So this was last year. Huge portion. Younger Americans most likely to take out mortgages. Here is the chart showing under 35, huge percentage, 40%. Then the 35 to 44 range is right around the, 25, 28% range. But one of the most notable things that I looked at this chart is it's really not much different year to year. This is kind of the same since 2018. Is it, people say 2018? Yeah, we used to say 2007. I guess people just say the whole thing, 2018. But how do you shorten it? You don't say 2007, 2018. I'm going to say 2018. Since 2018, it's basically all the same. Like this has not been a huge change in the percentages over the last several years. So while this article came out as being like big news, this is not big news. It's just the generation may have changed, but the age gaps are still about the same. So Gen Zers and Millennials are aging into homeownership. The median age of first-time home buyers is 35. People tend to be in their late 20s and 30s when they buy their first home because that's when homeownership becomes financially feasible and desirable. They have to save for down payments, qualify for mortgages. Yeah, many people view real estate as a safer long-term place to park their money. And younger buyers are likely to take out loans rather than pay for homes in cash because they ain't got the money. Yeah, they haven't had time to amass the wealth needed. Okay, so are you working with a ton of investors this year? If so, I want to hear about it. We have seen a huge drop-off in the number of investors that seem to be actually purchasing in our area. And I'm wondering if this is part of the reason. Sunbelt is seeing some of the biggest rent declines in America. 9 of the 10 metros facing steepest drops in asking rents are in the Sunbelt. The exception is Seattle, where rents fell 7% year over year in April. It's the biggest decline among the metros Redfin analyzed. Nationwide, the median asking rent rose 1% to $16.48. It's the first increase in a year. So, Julie, this goes back to what you were saying. The rents are increasing where you are. She says everyone's an investor now. What's up, Heather? I see you joining the show. Thanks for hopping on there. All right, so here's the chart. Asking rents fall in Seattle and the Sun Belt, but rise nationally year over year. So the blue line you're seeing here is the Seattle line. Nashville, this is really interesting. October of 2021 to August of 2022. That's going to make somebody cringe. Let's just get joy out of it. So Nashville had their rents were rising big time. But recently it has fallen to negative 6%. So this is kind of what we're seeing in our area, where we had a huge boom in rents. We had an increase in the number of investors that were purchasing rental properties. Now the rent increases are not happening as frequent, and the number of investors that are buying in our area has slowed. So nationwide asking rents rose for the first time in a year, driven by increases in the Midwest and Northeast. Hillary, what's up, Hillary Kerchief? She said definitely a decrease in rents in Nashville. Are you seeing a decrease in the number of investors that you're working with, Hillary? I don't know if you worked with investors before, but I was just curious. Usually you get all the inquiries, you know. U.S. asking rents climbed for the first time. So it's 1648. You can see the little hump that happened in June of 2022. So she says she usually doesn't work with investors. Julie Moon says the investors are buying new construction. So we have sold some investors new construction, but 2 of them took a little while to rent at the price point that we knew we could get. And so we use a property manager that we kind of team up with. And because of that, the other 2 he decided not to buy. So that's that literally happened this week. So that's what we're seeing. It's just taking longer to get the same rent number that was very easily predictable last year. Heather says on Instagram, Heather Witt Realtor, Austin's rents are going down with all the luxury apartments coming online. So single family rents going down with nice luxury apartments going up, or being when you coming online, I guess they're ready. I remember on Clubhouse, and some of you Clubhouse OGs will remember this. Like it seemed like every room, especially a real estate room, there was someone that had an apartment complex that they were trying to get investors for. Y'all remember that? It was like the good days of multifamily development, and there were so many people who were like, "Yes, give me $50,000 and you can put it into this apartment complex." It sounds like a lot of those apartment complexes are now online because the multifamily rents have also decreased in a lot of areas. Julie said our sweet spot is 2,000, 2,400. So Julie, can you get a property that I want to buy in your area that would rent for 2,000 to 2,400? Can I pay 200,000 to 240,000 for? Or what's the price range of that? Or is it closer to like 250 to 300? Yeah, she said Syndication City on Clubhouse. Yes, it was huge. There were so many. And I know some of those happened because I know some people that did invest in them. So I know that some of those were built And I guess a lot of those that are coming online are starting to. So she said 250 to 300. So that's what we're seeing too. And a lot of investors have the 1% rule. They won't even look at it if they can't get the 1%. So if they can't get 1%, then they're not gonna invest a lot of times, even though they can have a tremendous amount of appreciation, even though someone else is paying the mortgage, taxes, and insurance off on a property. So they basically have a free house. But for a lot of investors, they're looking for the 1%. And it's going to be a while before all my bigger pockets leads kind of get the memo that that's harder to find now. And you're not going to find it as readily. Or if you do find it, you're going to have to put money back into the home to increase the condition to be what it's supposed to. So I think, she said again, a new norm. Yeah. We'll see how that shakes out, but it's definitely not increasing like it was. All right. California has been all in the news with their problems with squatters, but they aren't the only state that has squatter issues. You to find that Texas is among the states with squatter issues. And I was surprised by this because I thought surely not in Texas. No way Texas has squatter issues. I was wrong. Texas homeowner completely destroyed financially after a squatter nightmare. So I'm going to give you a bit of the rephrase version because this website has ads all over it. So months after squatters took over and ransacked her Dallas area home, Terry Boyette is reportedly still living at her mom's in Florida while her house, wallet, and morale has been left completely destroyed. So basically she hired a contractor to come do some work. Contractor shows up, does a phenomenal job. She hires the contractor again to come do some more work while she lives somewhere else or was gone for several months. Then he comes back, breaks into the house, basically makes it a drug home, and sells all of her stuff. So she tried to evict him. She tried to report it to law enforcement, and law enforcement was like, no, you got to evict him. Because he had been there for over 10 days, she had to go through the full eviction process. She said, I attempted to do my own eviction, but the challenge in Texas is that there's no place for a squatter eviction. After getting access to her home again, March 20th, she discovered that most of her furniture and appliances had been sold or damaged beyond repair. He sold all of my large appliances and everything else in the yard sale that he had. In a now viral video shared with her social media followers, Boyette walked through the home revealing how the squatter had wrecked the house, left piles of trash and clothes, and rotting food. I was shocked this happened in Texas. Red states around the country are moving to eliminate squatters' rights, which have proven costly headache for property owners in cities around the country. These rights allow people to be considered tenants after occupying a property for a certain amount of time, tying the hands of legal and the property owners to try to remove the unwanted inhabitants. They only allow you to submit a court case if you have a tenant or either oral or written agreement. So I don't know how I would work around that. So I ended up having to hire an attorney to do the eviction, and that took about 7 months. That is wild. It took 7 months to get a squatter out of a house in Texas. So all my Texas friends that saw our last squatters' rights story that said, oh, that would never happen in Texas. Yeah, it could. Heather Witt said never file eviction. That's like admitting they have a tenant's rights. That's essentially what she's saying. The only way you can evict is if they had some kind of agreement, oral or written. Otherwise, it's not an eviction. So there's no process to remove a squatter, so she had to get an attorney. Hillary said, drug house. How come the cops couldn't arrest the guy? Well, I think you got to catch him in the act, you know. Christina Smallhorn says, saw a story of a woman who's enlisted was in Afghanistan and a squatter took over. Took her month and months to get him out. And this was in Georgia. That's wild, guys. So check, if whatever area you live in, check to see what the squatters' rights are. What would you do? Who would you call if someone just starts living in your house? How would you get them out? Heather Witt said they fake leases now to show police to claim they have the right to be there. Yeah. I mean, it's probably super easy to get a fake lease somewhere. I just thought that story was amazing. Yeah, Christina Smallhorn said the same thing. These squatters are smart, make fake leases and know all the loopholes. So take care of your property, people. Find somebody to watch over it and guard it. Now what we talked about last time was the genius handyman that has a way of getting squatters out of the house. He waits until they leave and then he squats in the house. And so he squats on the squatter, but he has a lease agreement with the owner of the property. And because he has a lease agreement, he has tenants' rights, which supersede squatters' rights, which somehow don't supersede owners' rights. Nuts. Christina Smallhorn says, in Louisiana, you contact the justice of the peace. All right, drop in the comments wherever you're from. Drop how to handle it in your state so that the people that are concerned can watch it. All right, guys, that's the show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the banter. Jennifer Marbury said they do it with deceased and private homes. They read about it in the obituary. Oh, wow. See, all the more reason why you need to hire a professional realtor as fast as possible to help guide you through the probate stuff. That's bad. Sorry, I had something. I just saw myself fan a gnat on the replay. Christina says, thanks, Ray. Thanks for all you do. Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I love you guys for coming in and commenting and being a part of the show and adding your 2 cents and telling me what's happening in your area. That's what makes this show different. So thanks everybody for joining us. Please share the show with someone that you might think might gain from it. And don't forget to download this podcast. Subscribe to that and review it there too. So thank you guys. I will see y'all next week.